welcome back for day 16 of the Do You Yoga 30-Day Yoga Challenge with me, Erin Motz. So today we're going to be working splits. I know, super scary, but it's going to be really easy. I'll give you a bunch of steps to break them down. We're going to warm up really well to work up to that. So I'm going to meet you at the center of your mat, sitting down, and we can go ahead and get started. Okay, so we're actually going to start in down dog today. So go ahead and sit back, tucking the toes under, pedal out the legs. So I know splits can be really intimidating sounding, but I promise we're going to stretch you out really good so that they won't be too bad. Or at least you'll have a good framework to use when you're working up to them, later on in your other practices. So get a little bit of movement here just to warm up the calves, the hamstrings, pressing evenly into both hands. And we're just going to take a couple vinyasas. So inhale, shift forward to plank. Exhale, slowly lower down. Maybe cobra, maybe up dog, rolling the shoulders back. Exhale, lower down. Sit up and back, downward facing dog again, pedaling out the legs if you need to. And then again, find that stillness. Inhale, shift the weight forward. Exhale, lower down. Maybe cobra, maybe up dog. And exhale, take it back. Downward facing. So I'm going to start you on the left side. So when you're ready, go ahead and pull the left foot up to the hands. Take the right knee down and keep the right hand down as well. We're just going to let that right hip sink forward. So, of course, one of the most important places to open up for preparation of splits is to get into the hamstrings a bit. So if you want a little bit more stretch, you can open the left toes to the side and really let both hips sink down evenly. That way you get the hips as well. So take a few breaths here. Make sure that the chest stays lifted. Don't let it cave down. Find one spot to focus on and just take a couple more breaths. Then bring the left toes back to the front so that everything is square. You can take the left hand down, sit back on the right side, and find downward facing dog again, pedaling out the legs. We're going to come through on the right side. So take the right foot all the way through to the hands, keeping the left hand down, the left knee down. Maybe open up the right toes and sink both hips down evenly. Keep the chest lifted, continue to breathe. So let that whole pelvis just sink down towards the mat. So you want to feel it in the hip and in the hamstring. And take one more breath. Turn the right toes back to the front. Square the foot. Tuck the left toes under, sit up and back. Downward facing dog. Take a couple breaths here. So we're going to add on to that. I'm going to have you step the left foot forward again. So take it all the way up to the hands. Take the right knee down and make sure you have a lot of space between both feet. So the left foot is way ahead, right leg is back. Both hands are going to frame that left foot. Tuck the right toes under and start to slide the hips back, flexing the left toes towards you. So you want to be drawing the left hip behind you and the right hip forward. So the back stays flat and you're just kind of folding over that left leg. You're looking for a stretch in the back of the hamstring and the calf. So the meaty parts of the leg. Take a few breaths here, breathe through it. I know this one's an intense one. And then gradually sit the hips forward again. Keep lifting the chest ahead of you. We're going to sit back again. So slide the weight back, flex the left toes. Sitting the hips back. Remember, don't fold the left side in half. Keep pulling the hip behind you, keeping everything square. Shift the weight forward one more time. Look, you're practically there, halfway. The right leg isn't split already. From where you are, let both hands frame the left foot. Tuck the right toes under, sit up and back. Downward facing dog. I just want you to come to a brief pigeon on the left side. So go ahead and bring the left knee all the way up to the hands. Slide the right leg back and just let the hips sink down. So remember, keep the left knee bent, Make sure the hips are square, so you got that symmetry before depth. Right hip is rolling forward, maybe lean onto the forearms. Just taking a few breaths. Relaxing the head and the neck. And just take 2 more inhales where you are. And gradually press up to the hands. Lifting the chest, tuck the right toes under, and sit up and back, downward facing dog. Pedal out the feet. We got to come through the same way on the right, so take another inhale. Exhale fully. And then we'll take the right foot forward. Left knee stays down. Keep the hands framing the foot. Lift the chest forward. Relax that left leg. And then flex the right toes. Start to sit the hips back. Remember, don't let the right hip pull forward. Keep hugging it back so that the pelvis is level and even. Flex the right toes towards you. Keep reaching the sternum forward. So don't worry about folding all the way down over the leg. You're just looking for that stretch. And take 2 more breaths here. On your next breath, shift the weight forward. Sitting the hips down, pull the chest forward so everything is long. Let that left leg be really heavy. The hips are dropping forward. And then one more time, we're going to sit it back. So sitting the hips back, flex the right toes. Another thing, I know it takes a while to kind of get into those bigger muscle groups in the legs and in the back and stuff. So if you have plenty of time, you can definitely do these, rocking back and forth a few extra times just to get the legs even warmer. Sit forward again, lifting the chest. And then press into both hands. Find a downward dog one more time. And then we'll come to pigeon on the right. So as you're ready to, bring the right knee forward. Left leg is sliding back, nice and heavy. Keep both hips square, and then let the forearms come down if you're ready to. Just keep hugging the ribs in, keep everything really flat, the back really flat. We'll take a few breaths. Take one more full breath in. And a full breath out. And press into both hands. Come on up. Tuck the toes under. Down dog. So we're going to start to move into that split. So take the left foot forward. Now I just want you to come to that same kneeling lunge that we started with. So letting the hips sink forward. You can keep the right hand down. And then take the left hand down as well. So you're framing that left foot. So what I like to do is just kind of rock my weight forward and back again to kind of wiggle the feet further away from each other. So you can tuck the right toes under, sit the hips back. So if you feel okay here and you feel like, okay, maybe try this a little bit more, you can lean forward, step the left foot forward a bit more, press the hips down. Sit it back, rocking back. So maybe you still feel okay and you could step it forward a bit more. And of course, on a sticky yoga mat, it is hard to just slide it right out. So if you're on a hardwood floor or something, it might be easier to come off your mat briefly. So just like you would in pigeon, try to make sure that that opposite hip is rolling forward. Even if you're not totally down on the floor, that's okay. Keep lifting the shoulders back. Try to keep everything square. Pull the belly in. Energize through both legs. Don't just let them hang there. Maybe take the arms up if you're all the way down. Maybe take one more breath. Then press into the hands. To come out, you're just going to wiggle the front foot back to where it came from. Find that lunge again. Take a couple breaths. Then press into the hands. Step back to down dog. And of course, we're going to come through and do the same thing to the right. So take the right foot forward. Same thing, you're just starting in that kneeling lunge. So you don't have to slide all the way out to split or even get close. You can continue rocking forward and back here just to keep getting the legs warm. So while you're doing that, I would totally encourage you to go find the story of Hanuman. So if you follow, or if you know a lot about yoga and its poses, you might know that splits in Sanskrit is Hanumanasana, which is what we would call it in Sanskrit. But it's awesome because it's such a powerful story about this monkey who basically overcomes the belief that he can't do something. And in the end, he does. And it sounds very simple, but it's actually really inspiring. So if you have a chance, it's quite a long story. So if you have a chance, I would definitely encourage you to find it and just take a read. There are so many resources out there and so many different versions of the story. So the one that I like the best, the lesson at the end is basically that, you know, in order to do something new, that first leap is always the leap of faith, but the following are leaps of knowing, which is really appropriate in a split because when you first see it, you're like, there is no way that I'm ever going to do this. But the truth is that you can. It just takes a little bit of persistence and that acceptance that, okay, it'll take time, but I'll get there eventually. So maybe you're not all the way down, or one side may be tighter than another, which is totally normal. And to come out, you want to come out the same way. So kind of pressing into the hands for support. You can wiggle that front foot back and see if you can find that kneeling lunge again. And then for real this time, last down dog. Step back. I think I said that like 5 down dogs ago. Look to the hands. We're going to move through one final vinyasa. So shifting forward to plank. Exhale, take it down. Maybe cobra, maybe up dog. And then find child's pose, sitting back on the heels. Walk the hands out, take a few breaths, let the eyes close. And gradually shift your weight into your hands. Find a comfortable seat at the top of your mat. Cross the legs if that's comfortable. Let the shoulders roll back, let the eyes close. Sitting up tall, just take a couple breaths here. And on your next inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Bring the hands to prayer and exhale them right down to the heart center, sealing in your practice. And let the eyes open. Namaste. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed that one. Come back tomorrow. We're going to be doing a full body, slow flow, just to hit every part, basically. So make sure you come for that. Get your daily yoga at doyoga.com and be sure to follow me on Facebook. As always, be good, feel good, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow.